Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, what if I told you that the city with the most tourists in the entire world probably isn't the one you're thinking of? And what if the most popular places to visit aren't actually the best? Today, we're going to dig into two totally different lists that tell a really fascinating story about where we travel and, more importantly, why. All right, let's just jump right in. When you picture the most visited city on the planet, a few usual suspects probably come to mind, right? You're thinking Paris, maybe London, or New York? Well, it turns out the latest projections tell a completely different story.
So, the city that's projected to be the undisputed champion of tourism, pulling in a staggering 30.3 million international visitors, putting it in a league of its own, is Bangkok.
So, where does that leave everyone else? Let's take a look at the full lineup. Based on a report from Euromonitor International, here are the world's biggest hotspots ranked purely by the number of people walking through their gates. Now, when you look at this list, a couple of things really jump out. Yeah, you've got the familiar names like London and Paris in there, but look closer. You can see there's a real shift happening in global travel, with some seriously powerful new players stepping onto the world stage. And honestly, one of the biggest stories buried in this data is the rise of Turkey as a tourism superpower. I mean, it's not just on the list, it has 2 cities in the global top 10. That is a huge deal. First up, you've got the historic crossroads of Istanbul, landing in a commanding 5th place. That unique blend of European and Asian culture, it clearly has a massive global pull. And not far behind it is the Mediterranean resort city of Antalya. Its high ranking shows it's not just some regional holiday spot anymore. It's become a major global force, attracting over 18 million people. It's playing in the big leagues now. So, there we have it, our list of the most crowded cities on Earth. But this ranking, it's all about one thing: quantity. What happens when we stop counting people and start looking at the quality of the visit? Well, the picture changes completely. You see, Euromonitor International doesn't just count heads. They also put together a second, much more detailed ranking based on what actually makes a city a great place to visit. So this idea of an attractive destination, it goes way beyond just famous landmarks. This index measures the stuff that actually shapes your experience when you're there. How safe the city feels, how easy it is to get around, and even its commitment to sustainability. The whole package. And here is that list. Just take a look. Notice anything? It's almost entirely different from the first one we saw. Bangkok, the most visited city in the world, gone. Hong Kong, Istanbul, Antalya, also gone. Instead, we've got a list dominated by European and Asian capitals that are really well known for their infrastructure and quality of life. And holding the crown right at the top is Paris. Even though it was only number 9 for sheer visitor numbers, it's ranked number 1 for overall attractiveness. The report points to things like the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral and a boom in football tourism as factors that boost its appeal beyond just raw numbers. So what in the world explains this huge difference? Well, the story of 2 huge European rivals, London and Paris, really reveals the paradox at the heart of all of this. Okay, this slide right here is the real head-scratcher. London is the 3rd most visited city in the world, beating Paris by a long shot. But when we look at attractiveness, it absolutely plummets to 18th place, while Paris soars to number 1. How is that even possible? So what's holding London back? Well, according to the report, while its airports and hotels are totally world-class, it scores lower in these other really key areas. This could mean anything from not having a clear citywide tourism strategy to visitors feeling a bit less safe in certain areas, or maybe not keeping up with green initiatives, all that stuff that really impacts the quality of a visit. So what's the big takeaway for anyone who's planning a trip? It's really about understanding what these lists are telling us. There's a huge difference between where the crowds are going and where you might actually have the best overall experience. This quote really says it all, doesn't it? A city can be super popular for tons of reasons, maybe cheap flights or one really famous landmark, but that doesn't guarantee it's a well-run, safe, or sustainable place to spend your time. The 2 things just aren't always connected. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on as we think about our own travel plans. It's a choice that pretty much every traveler has to make. So, for your next trip, what's it going to be? Are you going to follow the crowds to the most popular spot on the map? Or will you seek out a destination that promises a higher quality experience? It's definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining this explainer.